he, and it was as if some sort of monster was hidden under there. Hi, I'm Darren C. Demaree, and here today we're going to talk about my new book, Not for Art Nor Prayer. The second part of the book isn't a sequence. It's sort of a potpourri of things poems that were sort of the best, and that happens from time to time. You just want to get if there's an opening to get the best poems in, you try to get them in the book. And so this section was called All of Them Whole. And this was a poem called We Did Our Best to Breathe Into It. Lung punctured, we did our best to breathe into the sheep's mouth. Emily even covered the bloody hole from where the metal, shorn from the fence post, first struck the animal, stuck deep into the soft red tissue, now unwilling to expand the way it should. We did too much for an animal we witnessed injured from our car. Did too much to bloody our clothes on Route 3 while family waited for us to eat a holiday meal. But we needed to save something then, needed to put our mouths on something desperate, fighting to survive with righteous intention. We, yelling about sex, the having it, the not having it enough, saw the spearing take the shoulder first, the plunge deeper still, while Emily took the gravel quickly and we burst from the car in shock. The animal died before the farmer, the owner, or the veterinarian could arrive or pronounce hope, and I, with my tongue warm from the expellant of life, looked at my lovely wife, her sweater torn, and I, with my tongue, my tears only for the sheep, asked her to hold me, despite my wavering hands. I talked about Alabama real briefly. Right after the tornado came through Tuscaloosa and tore up a large part of that town, and I had a lot of friends that were in town when that happened and experienced and helped and rallied and did all these things for the people in the community. One of the things that was done was we, through Brian Oliu down there, put together, and a lot of other people working with him, put together an anthology of work about Tuscaloosa called Tuscaloosa Runs This. I know they've gone through several printings. I don't know if they're available anymore, but we were able to raise a fair amount of money. All the people that submitted work, and it was a lot of people that sort of rallied, a lot of artists and writers in the community to put their work in about Tuscaloosa and try to raise money for the victims and the rebuild and everything that was going on. So this is Water Always Leaves the Knife, Tuscaloosa. How the chip and hammer so paused in both that we live with the carry and away of that sun sum of what fingers do when it's char, or the painted red faces of about the town. Rats, lost scorpions, the full ribs of such beauty is blood, is fat, is ship. There's a place down there that's sort of a rallying point, and where we would all collect those in the writing program, and I was just sort of down there hanging out, called Egan. This is called Without Lamentations. Song of the sudden blood, the dark heat, and fabulous monsters living without fear, that Egan's might at some point collapse into hell, that nobody would notice, that the bay of the hounds would fit in without a pause in a single dart game, because fuck all, man, we're here. We might as well have a good time with these transcendental women, all dressed like they knew this drop was coming. All beautiful memoir marvels, we all rush to arrive, to interrupt the discovery, the strain and echo of the knowledge that even if salvation comes to the place, nobody would give a shit, and these women would still be here, holding a tall boy, arguing with each other about men or art, or how best to ruin both with a good dress, meant for summer that fits with the devil, depending on the woman and her beliefs. So I got to do a visiting writer thing up at University of Wisconsin-Superior, but it was a really interesting experience. When I went up there in the early spring, it was still very cold and Lake Superior was frozen, and some people were willing to walk on it, and I was way too afraid, because when the wind would kick up, the lake would sort of like heave, and it was as if some sort of monster was hidden under there, or the lake itself had some sort of tendency for destruction. So I wrote a poem about that. The ice will keep our tide at the ready. For John McCormick, Yvonne Rutford, and Ryan Bine. A monument to the possibility that a 7-year soup may be required to feel the heat of good action again, I've decided to perch myself next to Lake Superior, to cancel flights, slash tires, give the wind a good shot at me from all angles. I see how often the water wants to rise. I see how so many people can balk at walking across this division of animal and the animal of the water's assault. Numb with beauty, eventually I expect to be numbed by caution, but if we decide to release 2 million balloons from the shoreline, they would be in Canada before they ever understood the fear that was driving them north. There, a roll at the lake's shoulders, a heave of spirit, a sneaky lick of the large black rocks. On second thought, maybe I'll just take a picture and witness this sequence from Duluth, where the dominoes of the season will only slightly rattle my belief that all of that ice will someday find me in Ohio, will deliver a message that I really never understood what was the particulars of this ghost spring can really do. The jewel never chooses the setting. The energy is mostly spent building answers to what might happen next. And from almost every angle, this great, heaving body feels like a beautiful threat. So I got a chance to be in the 50th anniversary, I think it was either 50th anniversary of the South Dakota Review, which is beautiful, like coffee table sized book. And I think in what was sort of a thrill for me, I think my poems were next to Ted Kuzer's, which was, you sort of smile pops when you see that. But this was a poem that was in there called The Tension Between the Concrete and the Ethereal. Sank the dark, the lines we've drawn in the air, the yellow of which appears only in fading, breathless, because more breath only pushes the printless beach closer to the dirty echo we've constructed below. Heaven or no, who can speak for anyone? I've climbed stairs to reach metal cans. I've fallen down, freeing a bird.